In this lesson, we are going to learn how to use Fireworks as a website mockup tool and explore the new Export CSS Sprites feature. We'll end this lesson by creating our own mobile app mockup and use the new CS6 library of mobile assets and components. For this lesson, I have a Dreamweaver website set up already, and it's named Temporary Website. This is a folder that you can find in your Chapter 7 files. We'll also be working with two Fireworks files that I've named Mobile App Demo, and the other is named Mobile Template. Let's start with a mobile app demo and create a CSS sprite image, and then take a look at our temporary website in Dreamweaver to see how it works. As we get started, let's take a look at the document that we're working on. Its name is Mobile App Demo Fireworks.png. Again, this file name here is just your way to know that you're working in a Fireworks file and not a regular PNG file. What we have here is a mobile app demo that has 2 pages. Fireworks gives us a lot of great templates to create mockups for web pages and mobile apps, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. But just to let you know, we're here on page 2 of this demo, and this page has a lot of small images, and those images have slices over them. Now, if we take a look here and click on this first slice, you'll notice down in the Properties panel that every slice has an individual name. So if we click here on this slice and look down, we see that it has a name as well. Well, what exactly is a sprite and how do we do that? This is a new CS6 feature that can easily be done from Fireworks in a matter of clicks. Now, a sprite, let's think about that for a minute. Anytime that you go to a web page or a mobile app, every single image on that page is displayed because an HTTP request is made. If you have a lot of images, or if you're creating a mobile app, memory and speed might be an issue. A CSS sprite is a way to reduce the number of images because they're combined into a larger image, and they're used on your web page because they're called by their X and Y coordinates. All right? So that's what a sprite is, and now let's talk about how to create one. To create a sprite, we're going to go up to the File menu, and we'll go down to Export, and we are going to see a lot of choices here. We are in the Chapter 7 folder, and I'm going to open our temporary website folder, and I already have a Dreamweaver website set up that links to this temporary website folder. If you have any questions about setting up a Dreamweaver site, be sure to look at the videos in the Dreamweaver chapter. And to create a CSS sprite, you're going to look down here at the bottom of the Export panel, and one of your choices is right here under Export, and it is going to be CSS Sprites. All right? Before we click OK, let's go click the Options button. When we export our CSS sprite, our images can have a prefix and or a suffix. Let's give our class names a prefix. Let's maybe go with CS6 and an underscore. And we actually don't have to worry about a suffix right now. Now, our images are going to be spaced out by padding. You can put any number that you like here. I think I'm going to leave this at 20. And then how would you like your images to display or be calculated in your sprite? Okay, your options are a horizontal, vertical, or grid. I think we'll just go with horizontal. And one last option, how do you want your images to be saved? I'm going to just go ahead and use PNG 32, and then let's click OK. And this file is going to be saved in the temporary website file in the Chapter 7 folder. So when we click Save, what we need to do now is go to Dreamweaver and check it out. I have Dreamweaver open, so I'm just going to hover down here and click Dreamweaver. And our temporary site has already been set up. And what you're going to notice here is a CSS style sheet and our PNG file. Now, this isn't the Fireworks PNG. This is a regular file type of PNG. The reason you see this little Fireworks icon here is because in my Dreamweaver preferences file, I have Fireworks set up to be my primary graphic type editor for PNG files. Now, I know that can be a little bit confusing, but just keep in mind that the PNG image type and a Fireworks file are different, all right? Okay, well, let's see how this works. We need to create a new HTML page, and I'm just going to click Control S to save this guy real quick and name this demo HTML. If you're on a Mac, of course, that would be Command S. And now we have a blank web page. Just so you can see the image that was created from Fireworks, I'm going to click here in the Files panel and drag a copy of this onto the page. So the reason I pull this out onto a page is so you could actually see the sprite, but the important part is right here, the CSS that was created behind the scenes. Okay, this is the CSS that was created, and this is all the positioning elements if you needed to use one of those images from the sprite. Now this technique isn't for your everyday graphic artist. Web developers, however, will really love this and appreciate it. Alright, okay, well let's navigate back over to Fireworks. So let's take a minute to look at some of the templates that Fireworks gives us. These are helpful especially if you need a quick jump start. Go to the File menu and choose From New Template. When the Templates folder opens, you have a lot of different things to choose from. If you'd like a quick website layout, you might check out these guys here in the Web folder. Here's a couple of templates with some stock images to help you get started on a layout. Alright, let's take a look at what else we have. I'm just going to go back to Templates. And wireframes, well, you might hear about wireframes a lot, especially when you work with web development. A lot of web developers actually start out with wireframes. These are basically rough sketches of how you want your website to look. Wireframes can be created in a lot of applications or with just a pencil and paper. But here's a couple of really cool wireframes. If you ever need one of those, you can get started here. Alright, well let's go back. Let me go here to Grid Systems. If you watched the last video in the Dreamweaver chapter, you heard about grids and fluid grids, and you're going to hear a lot about that as mobile website development becomes very predominant in our marketplace. Well, here are some great grids to help you get started, and these help you align your images when you create your files. Alright, let me go back and let's talk about the document presets. Now these are great. If you need an Air application, maybe an iPhone application, or here are some mobile screens that you might use. These are very common sizes for mobile screens, alright? And here's some web banners. This is a great way to get started if you need to build layouts in Fireworks for some of the very common mobile app sizes. In our demonstration that we're going to do in just a minute, we're actually going to build on one of these. Alright, let's go back for a second and let me show you the very last one, and this is going to look familiar. If you go right here to mobile, this may look familiar because this is the one that we customized just a minute ago. These can be very helpful if you need an idea on how to get started with a mobile app. Okay, so you'll just choose one of these as a great starting point. And in the last video, we looked at the Pages panel, and this particular entertainment Fireworks file would have 4 pages. So keep in mind that Fireworks has great templates for a starting point. With that said, let's pop over to our mobile template Fireworks file, and here we've started a mock-up for our mobile app for big city pet sitters. Okay, over to the left, this one has already been completed, and over to the right here we have a blank space so I can show you how this was done. If you want to do this together, some of the panels that you're going to need to have open, I have the layers panel open. You don't really need that one, but you can have it open. But you are going to want to have the common library open. You probably remember from previous videos, to find any panel you can simply go to the window menu, and anything that you need you'll find here. So again, have the common library panel open and also have the align panel open. Alright, now I'm going to need to bump down my screen size just a little bit, so I'm going to go here to the bottom right corner and maybe go to 66%. Alright, it looks like the gray line to the left dropped out, but really it just disappeared temporarily because we had to zoom out. So to get the logo, we can do one of two things. We could go to File, Import, Control R on a PC or Command R on a Mac, but we have it right here, right? So why don't we just hold down our Alt key on a PC, Option on a Mac, and drag this guy over. If you hold down your Shift key, it will drag in a straight line. Now let go of your mouse and then your modifier keys. Well, let's talk about the common library and where these buttons came from, and also this little placeholder for a video. If you look in the common library, which by the way has been expanded and has some really great new mobile assets and components for Android, social networking, and iOS. All of those can be found here in the common library. There's all kinds of really cool buttons and menu bars and web apps and all of that right here. So let's open buttons, and the buttons here that I selected are actually these right here called Bevel Button Gray. So I'll click Bevel Button Gray and I'll drag an instance of this guy out over onto the second workspace. Alright, I can do that actually 2 more times. Just click and drag instances from our common library until I get 3 of these guys. Now you know that these can be customized. These are just very generic for now. And why don't we drag a marquee to select all 3 of these guys, pop over to the Align panel, and let's align these guys to the top edge. And also let's click this button here to distribute the horizontal center. Now while these guys are still selected, I'm going to hit my left arrow key on the keyboard a couple of times to nudge those over, and then we'll deselect. Alright, so now we have 3 buttons. Matter of fact, I need to probably move these up just a little bit more, and I'll do that with my arrow key. Okay, very good. Let's talk about our video placeholder. If we look in the common library and we scroll down, you're going to see a folder here for video. Inside of video, you are going to see several objects. The one that I used, I believe, is right here called YouTube. And just a word of caution. At the time of this recording, Fireworks was in its last beta version, and since the release of CS6, there have been a few changes to some of the elements in the common library. With the released version of Fireworks, you will see many new great items for the iPhone, iPads, jQuery, many new wireframes, and so much more. So feel free to choose any of the items you see here in the common library to get a similar result as to what I'm choosing. Go ahead and get creative and choose a few different things if you'd like to. So I'll take this guy and I'll drag it out onto my workspace. I can kind of tell it's going to be a little large, and not only that, but because I already have one of these in my Fireworks document, I'm being prompted to replace it or add to it. So I think we'll just not replace it, leave the other one as it is, and click OK. This guy came in a little bit big, so I'm going to turn on my transform tool and actually make it a little smaller. A great shortcut for that on a PC is Control-T. On a Mac it is Command-T. What just happened when you use that shortcut is you activated the scale tool. Now to rescale this, it's a good idea to hold your Shift key down and pull from one of the corners. That will constrain your height and width proportionately, and then you can just take your video component and pull it up into place exactly where we want it to be, and then let's deselect. I'll go select the pointer tool and just deselect. Alright, so now we have created our Big City Pet Sitters mockup, and during this video we've also learned how to use the Fireworks template and the common library items to help us along the way.